All right, picture this. You're standing dead center in a packed stadium. The air around you is absolutely pulsating with primal energy. The roar of the crowd is like a tidal wave washing over you, and the stage lights are completely blinding. It's the lifeblood of any legendary rock show, right? But sometimes, right in the middle of all that sonic fury, the air crackles with something else entirely. An unseen yet undeniably present energy. So what actually happens when a crowd's collective consciousness, fueled by immense musical energy, just completely defies simple explanation? We've all heard the stories passed down like modern campfire ghost tales within the inner sanctums of touring crews. And these are tales that go way, way beyond just road weariness or backstage pranks. Now, in this explainer, we aren't talking about the predictable thrills. We're not looking at the killer guitar solos or the visceral double bass drum assaults that you totally expect when you buy a ticket. No, we are investigating the unexplained side of the ledger. I'm talking about the whispers in the dressing room, the fleeting apparitions in your peripheral vision, the bizarre equipment malfunctions, and the phantom notes. We're looking at what might literally be the spectral residue of pure, unadulterated musical power clanging to the circuits and amplifiers. Part 1. Case study, the Obsidian Veil anomalies. Okay, let's dive into this. If we really want to understand this phenomenon, we absolutely have to look at the late 90s progressive metal titans Obsidian Veil. Their elaborate stage shows were as legendary as their super complex, almost apocalyptic song structures. During their Chrono Shatter tour, which was a time marked by unprecedented sonic experimentation and this near-religious devotion from their fans, these anomalies just became commonplace. We're talking about lights flickering in perfect sync with unheard rhythms, the air on stage physically feeling heavy and charged, equipment abruptly cutting out only to roar back perfectly in tune, and most chillingly, phantom melodies playing out of nowhere during totally silent passages. These weren't just isolated, weird events. They were meticulously reported by seasoned roadies and stoic sound engineers night after night. To really ground this in reality, let's hear from the band members themselves. The drummer, who, by the way, was famously known within the industry as a highly pragmatic, grounded guy, he reported this exact experience. He distinctly heard a mournful cello line weaving right through the middle of a particularly aggressive thrash metal section. There were no cellos on stage, no backing tracks at all, but the auditory experience was crystal clear to him. And it wasn't just him. The lead guitarist swore he heard a choir of ethereal voices singing a complex counter melody during a totally brutal breakdown. Now, initially, you might just brush this off, right? Like, okay, it's an auditory hallucination brought on by tour exhaustion or just the sheer volume of the show. But as these experiences mounted, they became entirely too consistent and way too specific to simply ignore.
Part 2. The detectives. The physics of heavy sound.
So how do we even begin to explain the unexplainable here? Well, let's bring in our first detective, the science of acoustics. The sheer energy output of a modern concert is staggering. A single Marshall stack produces over 100 decibels of sound. Now imagine multiplying that by dozens of amplifiers, a thunderous drum kit, and these massive PA systems. We are talking about a sound pressure level that can literally vibrate the molecules in the air around you. These amplified waves carry a massive amount of physical energy. Which brings us to a totally crucial concept, resonance. This happens when an external force matches an object's natural frequency, amplifying its vibrations. In a massive concert setting, the extreme sonic energy, the specific frequencies, harmonic overtones, and controlled chaos, it creates sympathetic vibrations. And the source material suggests this might not just affect physical objects like rattling the venue's windows, but potentially the subtle electromagnetic fields that permeate our immediate environment. And this actually perfectly explains some of those crazy equipment malfunctions through a principle called piezoelectricity. Basically, this is an electric charge that gets generated in response to applied mechanical stress. So, the intense vibrations and low-frequency rumbles from the amplified sound literally induce subtle electrical currents within the metal components of the instruments and amplifiers. Amplified by the performance, these currents can interfere with delicate electronic circuits, causing those temporary, highly synchronized malfunctions we were just talking about. Part 3. The detectives. The power of the crowd. Now, what's really interesting about this is that physics alone doesn't explain the intentionality of those phantom notes, like why they seem to fit the mood or melodic structure of the song so perfectly. To find that missing puzzle piece, we have to look at human psychology. A rock concert is basically a mass of intensely focused human emotion. Sociologists call this collective effervescence, a term coined by Emil Durkheim. It's that uniquely heightened emotional state we experience when we come together in a group.
Thousands of intensely focused fans, united in shared catharsis, create this massive psychological and energetic feedback loop. It's a complete exponential amplification of shared experience and raw emotional intensity.
Think of a powerful magnet for a second. When you expose it to a specific magnetic field for an extended period, it becomes permanently magnetized, right? It retains a sort of memory. Well, similarly, some theories suggest the intense sonic and emotional energy of a rock tour might leave a residual sonic signature or energetic imprint on the environment. When the band plays again, reaching a similar emotional state, these imprints are just activated.
And Obsidian Veil was the absolute perfect catalyst for this. Their music acted as a form of sonic alchemy. They were out there channeling raw emotion through incredibly complex arrangements, dealing with cosmic dread and existential angst. They pushed their instruments to the absolute limits. This intense focus, transforming raw energy into something deeply resonant, created the exact conditions for these energetic imprints to activate night after night.
Part 4. The Phantom C-sharp.
All of this built-up energy leads us directly to the climax of our explainer. This is a moment where the theories of physics and psychology literally collided in the real world. Let's set the scene. A historic, notoriously active theater, right in the middle of Obsidian Veil's most intense performance of the entire tour. Let's walk step by step through exactly what happened during the climax of their epic ballad, Echoes of Oblivion. Step 1. The song gradually builds from a tiny whisper to an absolutely deafening roar. Step 2. Right at the peak crescendo, the shamanistic lead singer abruptly stops. The music completely dies. Step 3. The crowd falls into a palpable, heavy silence. And then, Step 4. A perfect, clear, sustained C-sharp echoes directly from the PA system. Now, this wasn't a quick squeal of microphone feedback, no way. This pristine C-sharp was held for a full 10 seconds before fading. The band was entirely stunned. The seasoned sound engineer was visibly shaken, and he officially confirmed the note originated from absolutely no earthly instrument on that stage. This was the moment the inexplicable became undeniable. It was a direct, almost conscious manifestation of the massive sonic and emotional energy that had been building up all tour.
Part 5. Echoes of the Machine.
So how do we finally make sense of this? That singular event wasn't a ghost in the traditional supernatural sense. It was a perfect harmonic resonance. The historic theater basically acted as a giant resonant chamber, and when the complex sonic and emotional frequencies reached a state of perfect alignment, the immediate environment responded with its own pure, unadulterated note. These anomalies are a beautiful testament to the profound power of music to interact with the physical and energetic fabric of our reality. The ghost in the machine is the echo of pure, amplified life. The silence after the final note is never truly silent. It's filled with the echoes of what has been and the whispers of what might yet be. It's a tangible, physical manifestation of pure human passion.
Which brings us to our final thought. If intense human emotion and amplified sound can quite literally leave an indelible physical mark on reality, blurring the lines between the tangible and the intangible, what unseen echoes are you leaving behind in your own environment? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, keep your eyes open and keep listening closely to the silence.